Good morning, and yeah, welcome back at last. Who would have thought when I left here 5 weeks ago on that rainy evening, packing up in the pouring rain, who would have thought it'd be 5 weeks before I was back again? Not me, that's for sure. And I definitely wouldn't have chosen to come over on a flooded river, but it is what it is. Last 3 weekends, I've planned to come up here, and every weekend it's been severely flooded, a lot higher than the water is now, and yeah, it's been, I don't know, I feel like I've been missing out, even though you can't, what can you do? You can't fish when the weather's like that or the river's like that, and even if you could, it's just too dangerous on most seas pegs along this stretch anyway. So yeah, I've been out, done a little bit of carp fishing. I've done okay at that. I think the biggest fish I've had 25-10 common the other week. But all the time I'm thinking about barbel fishing and getting up here. That said, the water temperature now has crept under 10 degrees, so it may be we're chub fishing, not barbel fishing. Nonetheless, I've watched the river, well, I've been watching the river every day for 3 weeks and hoping that it would be dropping. And every time it's dropped, a bit more rain's come along and it's been rising again. But we've had sort of 4 days of it dropping, and also in Wales, no rain this week. So I'm like, yeah, this will be it. I'm coming up this Saturday. So, and then just before I went to bed last night, I checked again, and the river's rising. I was like, oh mate, the car's loaded. I've even made a decent lunch today. I don't normally bring much food with me, and I'm starving going home, but I bought a decent lunch with me today. I thought, you know what, I'm still going. So yeah, left home at 4:30 this morning. You know, a great drive up here. I mean, to be honest, my car, it does, well, I get on the motorway I'm on the M11 in 20 minutes from my house on a Saturday morning at that time of day. Put it into cruise control, and it's got some lane assist thing that monitors the lane, and the car steers itself. Even the one part of the motorway, there's a great big bend in the motorway, and it just yeah, the car steers itself around the motorway, and I've got used to it now. My hands are still there on the steering wheel because I'm always, what if it doesn't do it, but it just drives itself. So 20 minutes and I'm on the M11, and then the next 2 hours and 15 minutes the car's driven itself all the way here really until I get to the roundabout where I've come off the M54, and then I'm driving for the last 10-15 minutes again. So a really good journey up here, sort of 2 3/4 hours, 2 hours 50. Drive over the little iron bridge, and as you drive over, I've got to be honest, the heart sunk a bit. It's the river's hacking through. I mean, I knew it'd be quick, but it is flying through, and there is foam everywhere. This is the worst foam I've ever seen on the river. I've seen foam on here, but not like it is today. It's constant. I'll spin this around now, and you can probably see it coming through. It's just, yeah, and it's been like that everywhere. And again, up this end where I've come, I don't normally see foam up here, to be honest. It's normally dispersed by the time it's got here, but yeah. So, you know, you listen to Des Taylor or Lawrence Breakspear, and it's like, as soon as you see the foam, go home. Well, that's all right when you live down the road, but when you've just driven 175 miles, it's not an option to go home. So here we are fishing. Obviously, I came here expecting most of it being margin fishing. I didn't expect, the fish aren't out in that flow. They're tucked away somewhere. And as I said, with the temperature, it's probably chub fishing, not barbel fishing. But nonetheless, about halfway along the stretch, there's some pegs in there that I've fished before when the river's got a bit of flow on it, that normally have some quite nice slacks on them. But I walked down and yeah, had a look at them when I first got here, and yeah, flooded beyond fishable, to be honest, and not really any slacks there either. So I thought, you know what, let's come up into the meadows. You've got quite a long stretch here. I'd be surprised if I see another angler today. I might be wrong, but I'd be surprised. So plan is I'm just going to have a bit of comfort, sat on the grass, pretty level. I've got, well, the coat will be on in a minute because it's only 6 degrees at the moment. I've got my umbrella with me. I'm just going to have a bit of comfort fishing these margins, and I will probably end up, the car's quite a bit up that way, and the plan is I will end up the day, if I've not been catching in that last peg where I caught when I come up on the Sunday afternoon and had those 2 barbel in a couple of hours on the Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. So that's the plan. Bait wise, smelly baits are out there. The ground bait, it's a bit wetter than I'd normally make it. I don't want it coming out the feeder as quick as it normally would. I want it to hold up a bit. And just going to keep trickling baits in. Nice thing with fishing your margins, you're not getting neck ache. You haven't got to have your rods up there. So the rods are at a decent level today. I mean, I love fishing rods down. If I could, I'd have them level with the water. I love watching the tip pull around when it's down there, but maybe later on I will be fishing that close in, and that's what I'll do. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Hopefully we can catch a few fish, and there'll be some for the camera. So yeah, catch up with you in a bit, hopefully with a fish. Well, welcome back. I'm sure you can see from the background I've moved pegs now. Where I was, nothing. I've not had one touch, one knock, nothing at all there. Worryingly, the pace of the river's picking up. The foam coming down is getting worse and worse. So I'm really sceptical that anything's going to happen. But however, I've moved into the peg. It's actually the same peg where I had the afternoon in that Sunday 4 hours and had them couple of fish, albeit I was sat, if I turn this around, I was sat down there and fishing just out in line with that bush. So it's quite a bit, the water, it sort of gives you an idea how much the water's up. What that has done, that's created this really nice slack in here, which is about 8 foot deep, maybe a little bit deeper, and there's no flow in there at all. So what I'm going to do there, I'm just going to keep introducing hemp and pellets in there for the rest of the day. I won't move pegs now. It's dark at, I think it's sunset's 20 to 5, so yeah, that's when I have to be off. So sort of got 4 to 5 hours in here now, and I'm just going to keep trickling bait in there, hopefully get the smells down there and everything. And then my second rod is just in front of all the dying reeds and stuff. And again, that's probably 12 foot deep there. But I think, looking at it, it's probably about where I would normally fish in the evenings when the water's down here. So we'll see what happens. I'm very conscious of there are a lot of boulders and things down here. Even though you're only a couple of feet out when the water's down, I've still lost tackle on boulders because you drop it into what is a nice area and it slightly moves, and you can definitely don't wind it in the way you put it in. It's definitely not coming out. When it's all grown up and somebody can't get on this bit to pull your line out, so at least now you should in theory be able to always get the fish out of there, or just your bare lead feeder, whatever you've got in there. It's a lot warmer now, which is good, so I'll sit here and update this a little later on. I've got it's called a Voltra, which means the battery life on your GoPro should last about 5 hours with that on. So probably about midday, I may set that up on my other GoPro and just have it on the tips. So hopefully if we get a take or a knock or a bite or anything, we've at least got it on the GoPro just to make this vlog more than me just talking. We'll just see what happens. It's a nice day to be sat out. Hopefully I can wink or a fish out, but if I don't, I don't. And yeah, update this as the day goes on with either a fish or towards the end of the day, just to wrap it up and say what did and didn't happen. Okay, see you then. Another little update for you. I don't know if it's in the picture. I've got the other GoPro going now. There we go. So if anything happens on the tips in the next 3.5 hours, we should get it on that anyway to show. But yeah, not a lot's happened. I said I thought I wouldn't see anyone else today, but I forgot to say in the last update, just before 9 o'clock, a couple of chaps came and saw me when I was down there, and they asked if I'd had anything, and I hadn't. Long story short, they're sort of 600 yards up from me now, and one of them came down about 12 o'clock. He said, "Oh, have you had anything?" I said, "No," and he said, "No, we've not had anything yet either." At about 10 to 1, there's a great big roar, and I heard a bloke say, "Oh, I've never had a double, £10.12. So obviously one of them's had a fish, which is a bonus. For me, nothing. I've not had a touch. I've even changed both baits over at the moment. I've taken the luncheon meat off reluctantly, but bear in mind that same piece of meat has been on since first thing this morning. It's done about 5 hours. There's not even one little nick out of it. So even though I'm putting hemp and everything out, there's no roach, there's no bream, there's nothing down there. Absolutely nothing. So that's quite worrying. But yeah, I've put a ellipse dumbbell on there now with some paste all around the hook and everything. And on the other rod, which I think I've had 2 different baits on there. I've had a boilie on there and an oozing pellet on there. Neither of those have worked. So I've now put a cheesy garlic dumbbell on it, again with loads of paste around it, just to see if we can nick a bite or anything. That said, I still fancy between 3 and 4:30 when I've got to be off, something to come along this margin, and I will definitely be putting the meat back on at least one of those rods, because it's done so well for me this year. Whereas other years it hasn't done well for me. I never found a way of getting it to stay on the hook too long, either last year or the year before with the Enterprise meat stops. But even that, in the warm weather, the meat would come off after 2 or 3 casts. Whereas now, I mentioned in the last vlog, I found some meat screws that really work. And someone messaged me and asked me what they were. So I actually get them from a guy, DB Angling is called. Yeah, because I get swim feeders from him. He does fantastic feeders at a great price, but his delivery is the worst in the world. And he also does those meat screws. You have to, after 2 weeks, you contact him and he's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, it's going out tomorrow." And yeah, I don't know if it's gone out tomorrow. It would have arrived today, my most recent order. But I've also since then seen you can get them from Bank Tackle. I've seen them on eBay as well. So yeah, they're really good, those bait screws. They keep the meat on. Yeah, not a lot else to report. I mean, highlight of the day has been, I just turned around to my left. I was looking at crud and stuff in the trees over there, where they're probably 2.5 foot out of the water, where obviously it got washed down in the floods last week, and that's how high the water was. So there's all crud in the trees. And as I looked out of the corner of my eye, I saw a kingfisher sitting on the piece of old nettle there. And so I just watched him. He was only there for, I don't know, 10 seconds before he dived down to, he thought he saw a fish. He didn't get a fish. And as I've said, there's nothing out there because they're not eating my meat. They're not pecking at it. But yeah, and then he flew off. That's been the highlight of my day. Hopefully there's another highlight to come in the next couple of hours and it will be a fish. So yeah, I'll update this then. And as I say, if we get a bite, it will be on the other GoPro as well. So we'll actually have that in the vlog. So fingers crossed we can get a fish. Okay, see you just before I'm going home. At last we got a fish. Nice chub on the meat. I'll just change back to the meat. Not massive, but that's a start, and it stops the blank. So happy with that. I just had a rattle on the left-hand rod, and then the right-hand rod went off with this chub. So let's get him back, and hopefully there's some more to come. Right, let's wrap this vlog up then. Rod's still out, but I've got literally about 10 minutes. So yeah, I said it was going to be a tough day before I came down here, or this morning when I got here, and obviously I had the 2 chub, albeit I didn't see the second bite because I was putting a new rig on the left hand rod, and when I came back I just thought, why is that tip over like that? And that was the smaller of the 2 chub on it. But yeah, obviously I think I said on the way right at the beginning I expected it to be chub, not barbel today with the water temperatures. What I hadn't expected was all this chemical foam coming down, and yeah, it just hasn't stopped all day long. It's been unbelievable, sometimes worse than others. I'm guessing all the time the rivers are high, the water companies can discharge the chemical waste and human waste and God knows what else into the rivers, and that's the way it is. You know, there's people with more clout than me who are now taking up the calls. Hopefully it's not too little too late, otherwise my little grandson won't have any fish to fish for when he's old enough to come. But anyway, that's enough of that. I don't do politics, it's fishing. So yeah, what happened today, I'm surprised this left hand rod hasn't gone. The amount of bait I've put down there, probably 5 pints of hemp and a good kilo of pellet slowly trickled in over 4 hours. But yeah, nothing's happened yet. I say it all the time, you know, if you could stay on just an hour into dark, I think you'd get some good results, but we're not allowed to. I did actually even email, said could that be an item on the AGM, perhaps in the winter have a time to get off the road at 6 o'clock rather than dark, which is 4:30, but they replied and said no, that's the agreement with the people who own the road. So yeah, I'd pursue it and go forward. Well, ask them, but if you don't ask them you're definitely not going to get. But there you go, that's what it is, you know. It's just, you come out, it's cost me £50 in fuel for quite a short day in very hard conditions. Oh, here comes a low flying plane. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, I'm glad I put the rod back on the luncheon meat because that's what the 2 chub have come on. I have tried various different baits as the day's gone on. I've now got a boilie on that left hand rod, a little cruel boilie, 10mm. Like I say, I've got about 10 minutes left before I've got to go now. Yeah, it's, you know, not a lot of fish, but I can only, you know, you can't catch them if they're not there, and they weren't there today. But yeah, what I would like to say, thanks for all my subscribers and viewers. You know, up until this 5-week break, my viewing figures were going through the roof. So much so that YouTube sent me a message to say, oh, we've put a new thing under your name. There's like a little hearty thing, and if you click on it you can donate $1.99 to me for my trouble. Yeah, I won't hold my breath waiting for that first donation, but I guess that's a sign of my videos are getting viewed by lots of people, and something, we brought up something on YouTube system to, oh, we can make some money out of this guy. So yeah, it is what it is. It's there anyway. But yeah, I don't expect to get one person pay me any money, but it's there. What else? Hopefully, hoping to be back in 2 weeks' time with my friend Darren, the guy who does guesties up here. But you know, he was going to come the last 3 weeks with me, where we've cancelled. So we'll just see what the river's doing. If it's like this, it's not worth it. It's, as I said, he drives up from Devon, I drive up from a place called Black Notley, and yeah, we're both spending a lot of money for not ideal conditions, not even close to ideal. So I will suggest we don't come, which hopefully it is better, because I do like to come and I'd like to catch a few more fish this year, but we'll see. And yeah, that's it now for now. As I say, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll be back on the bank 2 weeks time and there'll be another vlog, maybe with a barbel if the water warms up a bit, but probably chub. Anyway, see.